Okay, just want to start by saying thank you so much for taking the time out to sit down and chat with me. I suppose we should start right at the beginning. How did you get introduced to burlesque? How did you discover the art form?
Well, it turns out it was a lot further back than I realised. So years and years and years ago, there was a documentary maker called Dawn Porter
Hmm.
who did this Get Naked with Me and learning about how to be feminine and everything else. It's back in like 2010. I think even further than that, like 2006. And I was like really liked her. She was engaging. She asked interesting questions, and she went for a burlesque class and went to the London Academy of Striptease with Joe King
Hmm.
and learned how to be a burlesque performer. And she did a 2 hour course and she went in the show and it was all great. And it turns out I actually know some of the performers now from then. And
Wow.
I was like, oh my God, when I did this flashback. But it turns out even further than that, the first thing I heard of burlesque when I was 11, and my mum and dad took me and my sister to Benidorm,
Okay.
where the renowned Sticky Vicky was there, and we had to be in the bar, but they had to send us out, so me and my sister had to get sent out.
Mm.
And my mum saw Sticky Vicky live, so that was my first introduction to
Yeah.
burlesque in that way. Uh, but one of the things I really noticed about burlesque when I saw live burlesque is when I used to tour with bands, used to do it back in the day.
Hmm.
And in Buffalo Bar in Cardiff, there was a band called Johnny Cage and the Voodoo Groove. And they're singing away, and it's absolutely, the guy's got a voice like silk. It's beautiful.
Mm.
And it's all, this is all lovely. Then he goes off, and this beautiful lady comes on all in red. And then it's like, and then his music comes on, and it's a big bopper, it's
Mm.
like a this really 50s vibe. And Chantilly lace, that's the song. It was Chantilly lace. And then next thing you know, she said, oh, we'll see red, looks down, goes, uh-oh, takes off her costumes. Next thing I know, there's a pair of boobs. I was just like, well, I wasn't expecting that. I'm at a band night and there's
Yeah.
there's, there's this. So we went, well, that was that. And then it's sort of like, cabaret. I've always been
Mhm.
involved in entertainment in some way. Mine has mostly come from music and pantomime. This explains my whole stage presence.
Mhm.
And then when I got into burlesque, I won a photo shoot because I was working as a live events technician for a theatrical supplier in Bristol. And I was like, we're wearing high vis, like steel toe cap boots, pretty much had mud on my face every day.
Mhm.
And I was like, I won this photo shoot. I was like, oh, brilliant. Oh, wow, I'm going to look feminine for once. Oh, this is nice. And I was like, started to learn about pin-up, and I bought this really nice pin-up
Mhm.
vintage dress. So I showed the dress to the makeup artist, said, you want to be like Dita Von Teese? And I was like, yeah, okay, whatevs. You do whatever, you do what you want, love. Just make me, just, make me
Yeah.
look nice. And she did a stunning work. I still have the photograph today.
Mm.
And then when I was waiting for my results, like after the photo shoot, this advert for T&A Burlesque came up, which was in my town. I went,
Mm.
well, I'm looking like quite vintagey, and I know that's also, I kind of know that's all associated together, so I'll give it a go. And so I sent them a message. He wrote back straight away, said, don't worry, I will look after you. You'll be fine. Just make sure you bring a low pair of heels and some water. No problem at all. She had me hooked in 5 minutes. Absolutely. I was like, they're going, oh my God, I am a girl. Oh, I can't believe it. I was doing things that I haven't done
Mm.
in a very long time. And because like mostly walking around with the shoulders down and just,
Mm.
walking around like that, it's like a really disturbed penguin. And then I was actually sort of like, blossomed out like this
Mm.
beautiful flower, all within 5 minutes. And then that was it. I was hooked.
Perfect. Obviously, we'll talk about it a bit more later, but obviously, I interviewed Del-Fflur and sort of we discussed burlesque as an art form and some of the misconceptions. But sort of, what does burlesque mean to you as a performer?
Burlesque means to me as a form. It's a form of escapism.
Hmm.
It's still theatre. It's still live performance. A lot of performers say it's empowering. I don't find it really empowering at all
Hmm.
because it turns out I just get naked a lot. and I get paid for it. And no, it's just, but I don't find it's like it's not the power in it's like it can be for other performers,
Mm,
but I don't ever use that word for me. It's more like home,
mm,
I would say, because it's just there is an engagement with the audience. You're doing something that is so like celestial and
hmm.
ethereal that they may never ever do it, and you have given them some form of escapism for five
Yeah,
minutes but you are I'm at home
yeah.
doing it. So that's what burlesque means to me. And when I watch other
Mm.
performers and like see them doing it, it's like I'm at home watching them.
Yeah, and obviously you talked about sort of the pantomime inspirations. I suppose that sort of audience participation is something that you've been used to and kind of enjoy and kind of get energy from.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say it's like whenever I'm part of a show, I scream and shout. You usually can hear me before you see me. And it's like it's that engagement, it's that swapping of energies as
Hmm.
well. Because you know, when a performer gives some of you, you give some back, and the energy in the room just starts to elevate.
Hmm.
And it's no matter what, whether you're a musician, whether you're a comedian, juggler, magician,
Hmm.
like an interviewer, well,
Yeah,
for example, you're giving me some of you, I'm giving some back.
yeah.
And you build this rapport within the room, and you can feel it sometimes. You can literally feel the energies change. Because sometimes, if an audience isn't on your side because they don't get the joke,
Hmm.
you can do something then that totally whips it around,
Hmm.
and then you have them.
Yeah, totally.
And it's incredible.
So you talked about sort of getting started and sort of learning about burlesque. I want to talk about the first time you got on stage and actually performed yourself. So what was that first performance like?
So as Serendipity,
Just in general.
all right, okay. So I joined the troupe TNA Burlesque. Got the dress completely wrong. I looked like an absolute silly sausage. I was stuck out like a sore thumb completely in the wrong way. And I was like, oh, and the way that we did it as well, it wasn't like big, the like what we know now is
Mm.
really, really sort of like this isolated community that we had. I didn't know about this worldwide burlesque and
Yeah.
everything that's that I know of now. And I was like, I'm happy in my own little bubble. It's fine. It's fine. Having a great time. We got a gorgeous Lady Lolly Rouge at the time who's performing.
Mm.
She was just, absolutely beautiful. And she's doing her thing, and we're all doing ours, and we're having a laugh, we're having
Yeah.
a real ball. And then another one of the TNA put on who's Trixie Whip, gave me a chance, and she said, "I want to book you for a show because I know you want to start it." And I was her stage manager. I said, "Yes, that's great. You'll have to wait a little while because I've just announced I'm so very sorry I'm pregnant
Mm.
and I'm out here." And I was like, "I don't think anybody wants to see that somebody's first performance and I'm out here." And she said, "No worries at all." So on the 13th of February 2015, well, literally I was a circle because I did not stop eating after I had my child. And I performed in Taunton, and it was just a little scat thing. It wasn't any story, but it was just all about movement. It turned
Mm.
out it was really, really, it was just all about movement. When I looked at that performance, which was called Do the Dippity, which I thought was really, really cute, a really, really, really cute little routine.
Mm.
And it still is that I just don't do it
Yeah.
anymore because it's just not my character. Um, I have evolved. And it was, yeah, and then it was this amazing drag queen called Miss Dis who could see I was like, where it's like a bit of a panic happened on the first day. And I just said, oh, I was like, all right, I'm back in it. And then literally sort of like go off, and I was like, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. Oh gosh, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. And I remember the power of it as well because I had loads and loads of Facebook requests the next day. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's like I've really made it and I made money from this. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. And like hanging around, having nice photos, just like
Mm.
in the backstage vibes were fab. And it was just all really, really lovely.
Mm. And you mentioned obviously the name Serendipity. Where did that come from? How did that come to be?
So I was doing my washing one day and I was like, right, and as you do, it's like, it's the whole Einstein thing I'm talking about
Mm.
here. And I was doing my washing. I was like, what is a good burlesque name? I'm sorry, my son is getting put to bed. So,
Right.
hello, audience. Yes, I do have a family. And and then sorry, so, and I was putting the washing away, and I was like, I need a Welsh name. It needs to be Welsh. Welsh has been very, very important to me, especially living in England. I feel I have to do the Welshness. And then, and I was like, oh, what's I go? Seren. Okay, Seren is star in Welsh. And then I was like, oh, Serendippity. Oh, that's a good name, isn't it? Google. No one. But then it turns out, I don't know if you know the film Dogma. That's done by Kevin Smith.
No, I've not heard of it.
Oh, I highly recommend you
Okay,
watch
I'll
it. It's
take it, give it a
brilliant.
look.
But they have Salma Hayek, who is Serendippity as a stripper in it. So it must have been in there. I'm just saying, I'll be doing it longer than you, Salma Hayek, doing stripping. That's all I'm saying.
And so, obviously, skipping forward a few years, then I know you recently performed at the Clumsy Cabaret superhero event. So, what
Yeah.
was the event like? What was it like taking part in that sort of that production?
So that production was absolutely brilliant because obviously Clumsy is like its own thing in that area of Cardiff in Fuel and what was Tiny Rebel, and it had its own established thing there. And this was all a new thing, like being in the cabaret bar in the WMC. And I performed there before with Cardiff Cabaret Club, so I was like, I knew the venue, but obviously it was a different vibe.
Yeah.
And it was there wasn't any bad vibes, it was just all different. And it was great because obviously you had like Ruby Derriere, who's like dressing herself as Venom and does this very, very clever thing where she like paints the mouth on her neck, so like does the stretch and it's the opening of the mouth of Venom.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really, really clever. And I can't paint a stick man, so how she does that, I honestly don't know. And we had Poison Ivy, we had Black Cat, we had Hawkeye as well. I really enjoyed Hawkeye. And so it was a mismatch. So it was like the first was more DC, the first half was more DC, and the second half was very Marvel. And mine obviously was in DC, and literally it was just like it all came from a song called Superman's Big Sister by Ian Dury. And it's very, very punk rock and really, really bouncy song. It's a really good song. When I first did it, I was like, oh, I want to be, as you do when you first start out with burlesque, I got to be super professional. I got to be a showgirl. I got to do this. But as I've grown, and I've grown with that act, it's just a lot more fun and ridiculous. So it's like being a massive clown with stage wings. And so literally, and the vibe was really, really up there. They didn't know what to expect to come on as like, with the cape and all this lot and doing all the ISIS wings. And the energy in the room was brilliant, and I think it's the best feedback I've ever had. I haven't done that act in years, and people have been talking to me about it loads. It's ridiculous.
Amazing. And obviously you said you did it a few quite a while ago. So where did the routine come from? Because you are obviously dressed as a rather iconic character you wouldn't associate usually with the world of burlesque. So how did you build that performance up?
So it came about again. So I just love superheroes. Well, to be fair, I really, really, really love the MCU. Really, really love everything they've done with the MCU. Always been a Spider-Man fan. But I was like, I know I'm nowhere near athletic to be Spider-Man. So I'm nowhere near flexible. I can't do the moves. So there's no point in me being Spider-Man. Wonder Woman, I don't have that vibe of Wonder Woman. But it's like, I always, always, always had a crush on Superman. And I wanted to do something different. I wanted to learn how to use ISIS wings. So I found this red cape that happened to come on. The music happened to be that, and it all started to assemble really, really nicely. And because I have my own music and editing skills, I was able to get the music for Superman, like the John Williams one, into a scratch into the song. So it worked beautifully, really, really well, and does like all the clowning stuff. And it just like hit because it's a real funky beat, so it's real new wave with funk. And so it's real, you can do good strutting, and it's like, and I don't know if you've heard Ian Dury's vocals, are like, it sounds like he's eating glass for 3 days.
Mm.
And so it's like, real, yeah, like that. So at first I was like, it's like going, oh yeah. And now I'm like, with him, because I just feel it, because I just feel that energy
Yeah,
from the song. And it's all, again, it's just all, again, just like I say about empowerment, but it's about really, really just knowing who you are.
yeah.
That routine now has really, really become synonymous with knowing who you are. You can be whoever you want to be. Don't let anybody stop you from being your best version of yourself.
That's fantastic. And from events you've done now to events you've got coming up, obviously you've been announced as a part of the Festive Frolics with Del-Fflur Productions. So what's your connection? How did you first learn about Del-Fflurs?
So I met Lily Del-Fflur on her first debut. I was a stage manager on her debut, and she has always been this little pocket rocket of bubbly energy, Lily Del-Fflur.
Yeah.
And I hope she sees this and has that as her tagline, just saying. And she's always been around, and we've sort of like known each other, like we were
Mhm.
quite good friends, but and then about the end of 2022, she announced to me, because we were at a show, I'm building my own thing. I said, oh, okay, I would be honoured if you hired me. She
Yeah,
said, I will at some point. We've got some things in the thing. And she said, but the only reason I'm talking to you about this is because I just at some point I do want to hire you.
yeah.
Great, brilliant, no problem at all. I did Autumn Awakenings in 2023, and that was fab, and it was brilliant. A theatre cafe, loved it, great, and everything as well. But she knows I've been working on a Nessa act,
Right.
and at the Wales Burlesque Festival, she was
Uh,
like, I know you've got a Nessa act. And it's like, I do have a Nessa act. And she's like, it was Christmas, so like, Gavin and Stacey, can we book you?
hmm.
I said, absolutely, sugar tits. And then it was, and it came from that, really
Yeah.
going, it's Gavin and Stacey, and it's Christmas. There's somebody who's Welsh doing Nessa. It has to happen.
Hmm. Is there like obviously as a performer that, and you said about the vibes, going into a show that maybe you haven't been a part of for a little while, is there sort of added pressure for the new crowd, or do you feel like,
So
yeah,
yeah, it can do like that. It's like if you haven't done it for a while, and it's the headspace that you're in.
hmm,
It just like that. So it's like I like to sort of like I'm terrible. I like
yeah,
to sort of semi sneak to the audience and see
hmm,
what they're like. And they say, don't go near the audience, don't ruin it. I'm like, but that's where I find the energy, because I can find, are they quiet?
hmm,
Are they a bit miserable? Are they just full of anticipation but don't know how to
hmm,
project that anticipation? Are they just bloody gobby? That's fine. And when I come back to it again, it's an expectation of you as a performer, because
hmm,
what are you going to bring today? And that's up to you to do your own marketing
hmm,
with it. So like I've called Nessa the Baroness of Barry with this,
hmm,
and it's, yeah, so, and like, using that marketing,
hmm.
the Baroness of Barry breaks her burlesque cherry, and it's
Um,
also using
hmm,
that, so I can turn that now out of going, I'm being Nessa right now, so I'm not Saren,
yeah.
I'm Nessa, so
Ah,
I'm completely different.
yeah. And I suppose it
It is,
works
and
really,
hopefully it'll work.
and I suppose it's extra special because obviously they announced that Gavin Stacey will be returning soon. So I suppose that adds to the hype of your promotion, the presentation of the character.
Absolutely. So it's like, as you've got to do anything with things like that as well. With this whole hype that's coming along now,
Hmm.
I have a perfect opportunity to do a marketing plan. I'm not good at marketing, FYI. So I have to write down ideas and sort of sneakily find out to my marketing mates going, do you think this looks good? And there you go. No, it's absolutely rubbish. Try again. And I'll just go, right, okay, so it's like I'm using TikTok a lot more, so I'm going to try and do I'm sorry, stage door Johnny, try and do what he does, and so like have a conversation with Sarah and then
Yeah.
Nessa, and try and
Ah.
do that. And it involves a lot of work,
Yes.
but I've got to do it, and do announcements,
Yeah.
etc. And I think it'll be a lot of fun though, because obviously, as you talk to me now, you probably heard about me. She doesn't shut up, and it'll be like, "Oh, Sarah, oh, so how you doing?" And then I've got to do complete opposite as well of my
Yeah.
character. And I'm,
Ah.
all right, Sarah, how's it going? All right, and not smile. That's what's really hard. I can't smile during my performance, which I'm normally like, ha ha ha, throughout the entire thing.
So you obviously we talked about Festive Frolics and you've talked about your upcoming TikTok video. So where can people stay up to date with you? Where can people find the information for all these wonderful projects?
So, if there is several ways you can keep a hold of me and Seren and her ridiculous ways. So it's on my Instagram, which is instagram.com/serendipities. My TikTok, tiktok.com/serendipities. I also have a mailing list as well.
Mhm.
And also as well with all that marketing as well, I'm building a website which is
Ooh.
absolutely painstakingly one of the worst things I've ever tried to do by myself. I'm just like going sort of like banging my head against the laptop going, how does it not go where I want it to go? And so I will be building a website at some point where I just
Mhm.
literally like, just on the point of insanity, which I do have the domain of www.serendipity.co.uk.
Oh, fantastic. I'll put the links in the comments so people can scroll down and click away. I've
Yeah.
got one more question, and it's my final question. So what advice do you have for people wanting to get into performing, into burlesque, or into music?
What you have to do, you have to network your bottoms off.
Mhm.
That's why I don't have a big bottom. And what you have to do, everybody thinks it's glamour, it's fab, you just get to show up, you get to rock up and do stuff. No, you have to work much
Mhm.
harder than in a daytime job, and because you're pretty much promoting a business.
Mhm.
Once you start doing that, you step on a stage, you are promoting your business.
Mhm.
And what you need to do is always find your joy,
Mhm.
no matter what. Even if you felt you didn't enjoy yourself on stage, find one thing you did right,
Mhm.
because that will carry you on after a bad performance. Make sure you're nice to people, because
Mhm.
we all talk. We all talk, we're all friends.
Mhm.
And also do your research. Research your market, research your venues, research your producers, and make sure you just go and just be yourself when you can as well. Don't let the rejections get you down. The rejections mean you're doing the work.
Mm. So that is all the questions I have, but I will end the same way I started by saying thank you so much for taking the time out to sit down and chat with me. As I said, I will put the links in the comments below so people can scroll down and hopefully obviously buy tickets to all the wonderful events you've got planned. But thank you so much and I shall speak to you soon.
Take care, Rhys. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, see you soon.
Ta-ra.